Hello, my name is Larry Dorff, Math Curriculum Consultant for Big Ideas Learning. Today we're going to take a look at using your Big Ideas Math Teaching Edition. The Teaching Edition, of course, is available in print form, but it's also available online at our website, www.bigideasmath.com, and it's located under the Teachers tab. For the purposes of today's demonstration, I'm going to use the Big Ideas Math Red Book for 7th grade. However, please know that the features that you see in the red book, you will also see in the green and the blue books. When you first open your Big Ideas Math Teaching Edition, you will see that the beginning pages are devoted to some information about our authorship team, Dr. Ron Larson and Dr. Lori Boswell, as well as our teaching and student reviewers, and the table of contents for that particular book. But I'd then like to draw your attention to page Roman numeral 16. Here on page Roman numeral 16, you can see a program overview of all of the components that make up the Big Ideas Math textbook series. You see listed here on the first page the Pupil and Teaching Edition, as well as our Record and Practice Journal, which is our consumable book for the students, and also our teacher resources, the assessment book, and the resources by chapter book. If you turn to the next page, you'll also see listed some of our online resources, such as the Differentiating the Lesson piece, the Skills Review, and the Basic Skills Handbook, and our Lesson Planning piece. All of our technology is listed here as well, including our ExamView Assessment Suite, our Dynamic Classroom and Answer Presentation tools, and our online lesson tutorials. So this is a good place to come to if you're wondering what parts of the program are included so that you know where you can go to as you're trying to plan your lessons for the school year. If you turn to the next page, you're going to see the focal point to book correlation in your teaching edition. Because the Big Ideas Math series is a focal points curriculum, it's important to show you where the correlations are between the focal points and where they lie in the textbook. So the next several pages will demonstrate how those focal points appear in the textbook. Then after that, we also show the reverse correlation, which is the book to focal points. So here we have listed each of the chapters and sections in the book, and then which of the focal points and the supporting piece that goes along with that is listed here by chapter. So you'll be able to identify which focal points are being covered, which chapters in the book. The next page in the teaching edition that I would like for you to take a look at is page Roman numeral 38. When you get to page Roman numeral 38, you're going to see here a pacing guide for the entire course. In the little yellow box, you can see that it identifies that the entire course should be completed within about 150 days. The way that is broken down by chapter, you can see that each chapter has a full day devoted to the chapter opener, 2 days for every section in the book, 1 day to do the activity and 1 day to do the lesson. The study help quiz day is a full day at the middle of every chapter. And then at the end of the chapter, you have 3 days. 1 day to review for the chapter test, 1 day for the students to take that chapter test, and then another day to do some standardized test practice. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the very first chapter in the book that you are working with. Again, I'm working with the 7th grade red book, so I'm in chapter 1, which is called Operations with Integers. One thing that you will see that is unique about the teaching edition for the Big Ideas Math series is that it's a side-by-side. On one side, you see the clean student book page, and on the opposite side, you see the teacher page with information for you to use as you're planning and conducting your lessons. So here we are in the very first chapter opener, and the students see the name of the chapter and each of the names of the sections in the book, and they get introduced to our cartoon characters. That's Newton the dog and Descartes the cat. Now let's look at the matching teacher page and see what's here for you, the teacher. You will see over on the right-hand side a pacing guide chart just for chapter 1. We just took a look at the pacing guide for the entire course, but here you can see the breakdown again just for the very first chapter. And again, we're going to take a full day to do that chapter opener. That is certainly important and worth taking the time to do that. We have 2 days devoted to each of the sections in the book, 1 day to do the hands-on inquiry-based activity, and the second day to do the direct instruction lesson that ties that activity in. Middle of every chapter, we have that full day to do the study help, which is a graphic organizer, which we'll take a look at in a moment, and also to take a quiz. And then at the end of the chapter, we have 3 days, one to do chapter review, one for that chapter test, and one to do some standardized test practice. The chart will also share with you how many days total for this particular chapter, and we'll keep a running total of how many days we've gone through so far this year. We also have on this page a nice little chart called Connections to Previous Learning. If I'm teaching 7th grade and I'm getting ready to do this chapter on operations with integers, I might like to know what types of activities, what types of concepts have the students already learned prior to coming to my classroom that would be prerequisite to operations with integers. And so those are listed here in the chart called Connections to Previous Learning. I've also included some math and history that you can share with your students to bring some interest to this particular chapter called Operations with Integers. On the next page, you're going to see again that side by side. On the right side, I'm seeing the student page, which is called the What You Learned Before page. This is where the students are going to practice those prerequisite skills, demonstrate for you that they have those skills before they start this very first chapter. For you, on your matching teaching page, you have some math background notes. Math background notes are particularly helpful for new teachers. But to be honest with you, I've taught for a number of years and have found the math background notes to be extremely helpful. You're also going to see a chart at the bottom of the page, a red and white chart called Reteaching and Enrichment Strategies. So when you give this chapter opener to the students and you've corrected this with the students, some of them are going to get it, some of them have not gotten it. What do you do with the students who haven't gotten it? Well, here, if the students need help, it lists some places that you can go, some resources that you can use to help remediate. But what do you do with those students who do get it while you're waiting for those students who didn't get it to catch up and get up to speed? Well, we have some resources as well for those students to help enrich them while you're doing some reteaching with those kids who didn't get the information that they needed.